The Peaceful Alliance Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Endeavour, watching the stars wheel slowly past the observation deck. 3 years into humanity's first deep space exploration mission, she had seen wonders that would have been pure fantasy to her grandparents, but nothing had prepared her for what they discovered in the Andara system. "Captain," called Lieutenant James Park from the communications station, his voice tight with excitement. "You need to hear this. We're receiving what appears to be a greeting, but it's not audio or standard electromagnetic, it's light patterns." Sarah moved to his station, her curiosity piqued. The Endeavour was equipped with the most advanced communication systems Earth could build, designed to detect any possible form of alien contact. What she saw on the display made her breath catch. Cascading waves of colored light pulsed across the screen in complex, beautiful patterns that seemed almost musical in their rhythm. "Run it through the linguistic analysis protocols," she ordered, "and get Dr. Reeves up here immediately." Dr. Elena Reeves, the expedition's xenolinguist, arrived within minutes. Her eyes widened as she studied the light patterns. "Captain, this is extraordinary. The mathematical complexity suggests high intelligence, but the patterns themselves, they're gentle, welcoming. If I had to describe it, I'd say someone is trying to say hello in the most beautiful way possible." Over the next several hours, the Endeavour's crew worked to establish basic communication with the mysterious beings. What they discovered changed everything. The signals came from the fourth planet in the system, a world of stunning crystal formations and aurora-filled skies. The beings who lived there called themselves the Zalathi, and they were unlike anything humanity had imagined. The first visual contact came through a holographic transmission that filled the bridge with soft rainbow light. The Zalathi were tall, graceful beings composed of what appeared to be living crystal. Their bodies refracted light in constantly shifting patterns, and when they moved, it was like watching living prisms dance. Most remarkably, they communicated by modulating the light they emitted, creating a language more beautiful than any human music. "We welcome you, travelers from the distant star," the first Zalathi, who introduced herself as Lumina the Lightkeeper, said through harmonized light patterns that the ship's computers translated. "We have watched your bright ship cross the void and hoped you came in peace." Captain Chen stepped forward, feeling the weight of representing all humanity in this historic moment. "We come seeking knowledge and friendship," she replied, her words converted into light patterns. "We are humans, from a world called Earth." What followed was 6 months of the most remarkable cultural exchange in human history. The Zalathi proved to be everything they appeared: peaceful, wise, and incredibly advanced in ways that had nothing to do with warfare. Their technology was based on harmony rather than domination, their cities grown rather than built, their entire civilization dedicated to art, philosophy, and the preservation of life in all its forms. The Zalathi had no concept of war. Their history contained no battles, no conquests, no struggles for resources. They had evolved on a world so abundant and beautiful that competition was unnecessary. Instead, they had spent millennia perfecting their understanding of light, sound, and the fundamental harmonies that connected all living things. "Your species fascinates us," Lumina told Captain Chen during one of their daily exchanges. They were standing in the garden dome of the Endeavour, surrounded by earth plants that glowed softly under the Zalathi's natural illumination. "You carry within you such potential for both creation and destruction, yet you chose to reach out to us with open hands rather than closed fists." Sarah smiled, touched by the alien's words. "We've learned that the universe is vast and full of wonders. We'd rather spend our time discovering those wonders than fighting over them." The friendship between humans and Zalathi deepened rapidly. Human engineers marveled at Zalathi biotechnology that could grow spacecraft from seed-like constructs. Zalathi philosophers were fascinated by human concepts of individual achievement and competitive improvement. Most importantly, both species found genuine affection for each other. Dr. Marcus Webb, the expedition's chief scientist, worked closely with Zalathi researchers to establish New Harmony Station, a joint research facility in orbit around the Zalathi homeworld. The station was a marvel of combined human and Zalathi engineering. Human structural efficiency enhanced by Zalathi biological integration, creating a living, breathing research facility that pulsed with gentle light. This represents the best of both our peoples, Dr. Webb reported to Earth Command. The Zalathi have taught us to see technology as something that should enhance life rather than dominate it. In return, we've shown them that individual drive and ambition can be channeled toward collective good. The station became a symbol of interspecies cooperation. Human scientists and Zalathi lightsingers worked side by side, developing new forms of clean energy, revolutionary medical techniques, and communication technologies that could transmit not just information but emotion and artistic beauty across interstellar distances. But their peaceful collaboration was not to last. The warning came on a routine morning. Zalathi deep space sensors, far more sensitive than human technology, detected massive energy signatures approaching their system. The patterns were unlike anything in the Zalathi database, harsh, discordant, radiating aggression rather than harmony. Captain Chen, Lumina's light patterns were dim with worry. Our instruments show a fleet of unknown vessels approaching. Their energy signatures suggest technology designed for destruction rather than exploration. Sarah felt her blood run cold. The Endeavor was a research vessel with minimal defensive capabilities. The Zalathi had never needed to develop military technology. How long until they arrive? 2 days, perhaps less. Captain, there is something else. We have attempted to communicate with them, to offer welcome as we did with you. Their response was, Lumina's light flickered in what Sarah had learned was the Zalathi equivalent of a shudder. They broadcast images of conquered worlds, burning cities, and the remains of species that did not submit to their rule. The approaching fleet belonged to the Corax ravagers, a militant species that viewed peace as weakness and saw the universe as a place to be conquered rather than explored. Their philosophy was simple. The strong dominated the weak, and any species unwilling to fight deserved extinction. Warlord Thrax, commander of the Ravager fleet, looked upon the peaceful Zalathi system with contempt. His scarred face twisted into a sneer as his sensors revealed the truth about the crystal beings below. They have no weapons, he growled to his subordinates aboard the flagship destroyer's Pride. No defenses worth mentioning. They send us greetings and offers of cultural exchange. He spat the words like a curse. Weak, pathetic. The galaxy will be cleaner without them. Captain Chen worked desperately to coordinate some kind of defense, but the situation was hopeless. The Endeavor could evacuate perhaps a few hundred Zalathi, but the homeworld contained millions. The crystalline beings had never developed evacuation protocols because they had never needed them. We cannot fight them, Lumina told the Emergency Council, her light dim with sorrow. It is not in our nature, but perhaps we can show them the beauty of what they would destroy. Perhaps they will see the value in our way of life. When the Ravager fleet arrived, the Zalathi did something unprecedented in galactic history. Instead of surrendering or pleading for mercy, they sang. Every Zalathi on the planet joined their voices in a harmony of light that painted the entire world in cascading rainbows. It was a song of peace, of beauty, of all the wonders they had created in their millions of years of civilization. Warlord Thrax's response was to order immediate bombardment. Captain Chen watched in horror from the Endeavor as the peaceful Zalathi homeworld burned. The Ravagers used weapons designed not just to kill, but to cause maximum suffering. Cities that had stood for millennia were reduced to rubble in minutes. The beautiful crystal formations that had been the foundation of Zalathi civilization were shattered into dust. The worst part was the Zalathi response. Even as they died, they continued to sing their songs of peace, their light growing dimmer but never losing its beauty. They died as they had lived, in harmony, showing compassion even to their murderers. In the final moments before the planet's life support systems failed completely, Captain Chen received one last transmission from Lumina. The Zalathi Lightkeeper was dying. Her crystal form cracked and fading, but her message was clear. Tell your people what happened here, she whispered through failing light patterns. Tell them that the Ravagers destroy everything beautiful in the galaxy. Tell them that some of us believed in a better universe, where different species could be friends instead of enemies. And Captain Chen, tell them to be careful. The Ravagers consider friendship itself to be a weakness worth punishing. The transmission ended, and with it an entire civilization died. The Endeavour limped back to Earth carrying the terrible news of what had transpired. Captain Chen's report to Earth Command was brief and devastating. Humanity's first alien friends had been murdered for the crime of being peaceful. Admiral Marcus Torres, Supreme Commander of Earth's Colonial Defense Force, listened to the report in grim silence. When Captain Chen finished speaking, he asked only one question. How many ships did the Ravagers have? Approximately 300, Admiral. Heavy cruisers and battleships, all designed for planetary bombardment. Admiral Torres nodded slowly. Around the council table, other military leaders leaned forward, recognizing the expression on their commander's face. It was an expression the Corax Ravagers would soon learn to fear. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Torres said quietly, it appears the galaxy needs to learn something about humanity. We make very poor enemies, but we are excellent friends. And when someone murders our friends, his voice dropped to a whisper that somehow carried more menace than any shout. We become something they wished they had never encountered. The peaceful alliance was over. What came next would show the galaxy exactly what humanity was capable of when pushed too far. Humanity's terrible swift soared. The Corax Ravagers had made a fundamental miscalculation about humanity. They assumed that any species capable of friendship was weak, that cooperation meant an inability to wage war. They were about to discover how wrong they could be. Within hours of Captain Chen's return to Earth, the Colonial Defense Force began the largest military mobilization in human history. Ships that had been disguised as cargo haulers shed their false hulls to reveal weapon systems. Mining stations activated hidden manufacturing facilities that had been producing military hardware in secret for decades. Research facilities that the galaxy believed were studying agriculture suddenly began launching warships. Admiral Torres stood in the command center deep beneath the Colorado Mountains, watching as humanity's true military might was revealed for the first time. The peaceful exploration ships like the Endeavour had been the visible face of human expansion, but they were never the only face. Status report, Torres commanded, as his staff assembled around the holographic display showing Earth's military assets coming online. 7th Fleet reporting ready, Admiral, came the first response. 12 dreadnoughts, 40 cruisers, and supporting vessels. 3rd Fleet standing by, followed another voice. 8 carriers with full fighter complements. The reports continued for 20 minutes. By the time they finished, the holographic display showed nearly 800 military vessels, ranging from fast attack craft to massive siege platforms. Each ship was equipped with weapon systems that the peaceful Zelathi could never have imagined, and that the Ravagers had never encountered. Sir, ventured Commander Lisa Rodriguez, Torres's chief of staff, the Ravagers attacked with approximately 300 ships. Our response seems disproportionate. Admiral Torres turned to face her, his expression carved from stone. Commander, when someone murders an entire species of peaceful beings who had done nothing but offer friendship, there is no such thing as a disproportionate response. We are not going to fight the Corax Ravagers. We are going to eliminate them. The hunt began immediately. Human deep space reconnaissance drones, equipped with technology far more advanced than anything the galaxy had seen, began tracking the Ravager fleet's movements. Unlike the Zelathi, humans had spent millennia perfecting the art of war alongside the art of peace. Captain Chen, now aboard the dreadnought Retribution, led the advanced reconnaissance force. Her experience with the Zelathi and knowledge of Ravager tactics made her invaluable to the war effort. More importantly, she had personally witnessed the massacre and understood exactly what they were fighting for. Contact bearing 047, Mark 12, reported the sensor operator. 3 Ravager heavy cruisers apparently raiding another star system. Chen studied the tactical display. The Ravagers were attacking a small system inhabited by a species of aquatic beings who had never developed spaceflight. It was exactly the kind of helpless target the Corax preferred. "Signal Fleet Command," Chen ordered. "Tell them we've found our first target, and prep the Marines for boarding operations. I want prisoners who can tell us where to find their home world." The Battle of Aquaria lasted exactly 47 minutes. The Ravager's ships, designed for attacking defenseless planets, were completely outmatched by human warships built for ship-to-ship combat. The Corax had never faced an enemy that fought back with equal ferocity and superior technology. Commander Vexka, leader of the Ravager Squadron, watched in disbelief as his flagship's shields collapsed under sustained fire from weapons that seemed to anticipate his every tactical move. The human ships moved with a precision and coordination that spoke of centuries of warfare experience. "Impossible," he snarled as his bridge erupted in sparks around him. "They were friends with the Crystal Weaklings. They should be as pathetic as the Zelathi." His answer came in the form of human Marines teleporting directly onto his bridge. The boarding action was swift and brutal, executed with a professionalism that left the surviving Ravagers stunned. Within minutes, Vexka found himself face to face with Captain Chen. "You are going to tell me everything about your military structure," Chen said quietly, her voice carrying the cold fury of someone who had watched friends die. "You are going to tell me where your homeworld is, how many ships you have, and who gives the orders. And then you are going to explain to me why you thought murdering an entire peaceful species was acceptable." Vexka tried to maintain his composure, drawing on the Corax's belief that showing fear was the ultimate weakness. "We are warriors," he declared. "We do not fear death. We will tell you nothing." Chen studied him for a moment, then turned to her Marine commander. "Sergeant Morrison, please explain to our guest what happened to the last species that harmed human allies." What followed was a detailed briefing on humanity's military capabilities, complete with tactical recordings of the battle they had just witnessed. The Ravager commander's confidence crumbled as he realized the truth. Humanity had been holding back in all their previous encounters. The peaceful exploration ships were just the beginning of human presence in the galaxy. "Your entire fleet," Chen said as she watched the blood drain from Vexka's face, "attacked one research vessel and a defenseless planet. You thought that made you strong. Let me show you what strong actually looks like." The interrogation revealed the location of Corax Prime, the Ravager homeworld, and detailed intelligence about their military structure. More importantly, the captured Ravagers began to understand that they had not attacked a weak species allied with weaklings. They had attacked the friends of apex predators. Warlord Thrax received the news of the Aquaria defeat with disbelief, then growing horror as the scope of humanity's military response became clear. His scouts reported human fleets moving throughout Ravager space, systematically hunting down every Corax military asset they could find. "How is this possible?" he demanded of his advisors. "They were peaceful explorers. They had one ship." His intelligence chief Morketh spread the grim reports across the war room table. "Sir, it appears we fundamentally misunderstood human nature. Their exploration vessels were scouts, not their primary military force. Our analysis suggests they have been preparing for large-scale warfare for centuries." The next piece of intelligence was even more disturbing. Human fleets were not just attacking Ravager military targets. They were systematically liberating every world the Corax had conquered, providing aid to survivors, and establishing protective garrisons. It was as if humanity was deliberately reversing every act of Ravager aggression. "They are not trying to conquer us," Morketh continued. "They are trying to undo everything we have built. Every species we have dominated is being freed. Every world we have claimed is being returned to its original inhabitants." Thrax felt something he had never experienced before: fear, not of death, which was a warrior's fate, but of complete erasure. The humans were not just fighting the Corax Ravagers, they were eliminating everything the Ravagers represented. The final confrontation came at Corax Prime itself. The human fleet that approached the Ravager homeworld was the largest military force ever assembled by any species in known galactic history. Nearly 500 warships surrounded the planet, their weapons trained on the massive orbital defense platforms that had protected the Ravager capital for millennia. Admiral Torres commanded the operation from the super dreadnought Justice, a ship so large that it carried its own manufacturing facilities and could serve as a mobile starbase. Captain Chen stood beside him on the bridge, wearing the insignia of newly promoted admiral. Her transformation from peaceful explorer to military commander symbolized humanity's response to the Zalathi massacre. "All stations report ready, Admiral," the communications officer announced. Torres opened a channel to the planet below. His message was broadcast on all frequencies, ensuring that every ravager on Corax Prime would hear it. "I am Admiral Marcus," Torres speaking for the United Earth Colonial Defense Force and all of humanity. "6 months ago, your forces attacked and destroyed the peaceful Zalathi civilization. They murdered millions of innocent beings whose only crime was extending friendship to strangers. Today, you will answer for that crime." On the planet below, Warlord Thrax listened to the transmission from his command bunker. Surrounded by the remnants of his once mighty military, the human fleet had systematically destroyed every Ravager ship that tried to flee, trapping the entire Corax leadership on their homeworld. "We offer you the same mercy you showed the Zalathi," Torres continued, his voice carrying across the star system. "None." The bombardment that followed was precise, systematic, and utterly devastating, but unlike the Ravager attack on the Zalathi homeworld, the human assault specifically targeted military installations, weapons facilities, and command centers while avoiding civilian areas. Even in their fury, humans maintained the moral standards that separated them from their enemies. The orbital defense platforms, which had been the pride of Corax engineering, were reduced to scrap metal in minutes. The military shipyards that had built the Ravager fleet were vaporized. The command centers from which 100 conquered worlds had been ruled became smoking craters. But the humans were not finished. Admiral Chen's voice joined the broadcast, carrying a personal message that chilled every Ravager who heard it. "To any Corax forces listening to this transmission, know that this is what happens when you harm our friends. The Zalathi were peaceful beings who offered you nothing but welcome, and you destroyed them for sport. Today, your military dies. Your empire ends. Your age of conquest is over." Warlord Thrax tried to escape in a hidden bunker ship, only to find human marines waiting for him at the launch pad. The soldiers who captured him wore patches showing the rainbow light patterns of Zalathi communication, honoring the friends they had been too late to save. "Please," Thrax begged as he was brought before Admiral Chen. "We surrender. We yield. Show mercy." Chen looked at him with eyes that held no warmth, no forgiveness, only cold justice. "Did the Zalathis' pleas for mercy stop you? Did their songs of peace give you pause? Did their offers of friendship make you reconsider even for a moment?" When Thrax could not answer, Chen continued, "The difference between us and you is that we do show mercy. Your military is destroyed, but your people will live. You will never again possess the capability to harm others. Every world you conquered has been liberated. Every species you enslaved has been freed. Your empire of cruelty dies today, but your species will survive to learn better." The final act of the war was not a battle but a broadcast. Admiral Torres transmitted a message throughout the galaxy, ensuring that every spacefaring species would receive it. "This is Admiral Marcus Torres of Earth, speaking to all civilizations within range of this transmission. 6 months ago, the Corax Ravagers destroyed our friends, the Zalathi, for the crime of being peaceful. Today, the Ravager military and empire have been eliminated. Let this serve as notice to all who might consider similar actions. Humanity protects its friends. We seek peace, but we are prepared for war. We value cooperation, but we are capable of conquest. Those who offer friendship will find no more loyal allies in the galaxy. Those who harm our friends will discover that humanity's capacity for friendship is matched only by our talent for vengeance." The message was received throughout the galaxy with a mixture of fear and hope. Aggressive species reconsidered their expansion plans, while peaceful civilizations began reaching out to humanity with offers of alliance and mutual protection. In the ruins of Corax Prime, the surviving Ravagers began the long process of rebuilding their society under human supervision. They were taught new ways of relating to other species, shown examples of cooperation instead of domination. Some adapted to these lessons, others never could. Admiral Chen stood in the memorial garden aboard New Harmony Station, which had been rebuilt in orbit around a beautiful world donated by a grateful species humanity had liberated from ravager rule. The garden contained plants from dozens of worlds, all growing together in harmony. At its center was a crystal formation that sang, with recorded Zealoty light songs, ensuring that the voice of humanity's first alien friends would never be forgotten. They would have loved this, she said to Admiral Torres, who had come to visit the memorial. Yes, Torres agreed, watching the interplay of light and sound that represented the Zealothi's gift to the galaxy. But they also would have understood why we did what we did. The Zealothi believed in the potential for friendship between species. We made sure that friendship would be possible. The garden was visited by representatives from hundreds of species, all of whom had heard the story of the Zealothi massacre and humanity's response. They came to pay their respects to the peaceful beings who had died, but they also came to understand the message humanity had sent to the galaxy. The universe could be a place of cooperation and mutual respect, where different species worked together for the common good. But it could only remain such a place if those who chose peace were protected from those who chose conquest. Humanity had appointed itself the guardian of that peace, and the galaxy was learning to be grateful for that protection. As Admiral Chen watched a group of young beings from a dozen different species playing together in the memorial garden, she thought about the Zealothi and their belief in a better universe. They had been right about the potential for friendship between species. They had simply been wrong about the price of protecting that friendship. The Corax ravagers had learned that price. The galaxy would never forget the lesson humanity had taught them. And in the light songs of the memorial crystal, the voices of the Zealothi continued to sing their songs of peace, knowing that they would never again sing alone.